With San Francisco still yet to sign their defensive tackle they selected in the second round in Alfred Collins, a player who I think can have a major impact on this team for San Francisco heading into this year, is their undrafted free agent, Evan Anderson. Last year, for instance, despite going undrafted, he was a menace in the running game and was able to play in 12 games, started in 1, registered 24 tackles, as well as a sack. The best part though, I think the 6'3", 326-pound defensive tackle is just starting his development as a player. When you look at him athletically speaking, for instance, he still has a lot of potential there. He ran his 10-yard split in 1.77 seconds and put up the bench press a whopping 31 times, which is more than any defensive tackle in this recent draft class. So not only can Anderson beat you with his speed and athleticism, but he can also take on double teams and drive offensive linemen into the backfield. So even though Anderson is still a relatively unknown player heading into year 2, I think he has the potential to be San Francisco's secret weapon and have a true breakout year. So in this video, I want to dive a lot more deeply into the player that Evan Anderson is, go over his strengths, his weaknesses, as well as his career up to this point, so we can fully understand the player he is heading into the season. Initially starting out, we need to talk about his biggest strength, and that's his ability to take on double teams. Here on this play, for instance, you can see how he takes on both of these double teams, barely gets driven back at all, finally sheds it, and then brings this back down on this play. In a similar way here going against the Buccaneers, they're attempting to double team Anderson up to the second level, but they're not even able to double team him and move him off the line of scrimmage. You can see how he's able to stack up both of these offensive linemen, which creates clear running lanes for the linebackers to shoot. You can see how Winters fills this lane, so the back has to cut it back across this offensive line. Anderson though sees him, sheds the block of both of these offensive linemen, and helps bring them down on this play. This is overall a fantastic play by Anderson. Impressive as Anderson was against double teams as a rookie though, I think he's poised to be even better headed into year 2 as he adds even more strength and continues to refine his playing technique. And I think we saw that over the course of the year last year. When he got more playing time, you just saw him continue to improve as a player. Here later in the season, going against the Bears for instance, not only does he show off his power against this double team, but he also shows off his playing awareness. He's able to get horizontally with his back thanks to his athleticism, and you can see how this causes his back to bounce it outside on this offense, and then Tatum Bethune is waiting right there to make the tackle on him. Maybe my favorite part about Anderson in the running game, if you don't account for him with 2 offensive linemen, often he'll blow up the play like he does here. He walks this guard into the backfield, gets a full extension on him while he's reading where this back is going. The back makes his cut, so does Anderson, and because of his crazy side-to-side athleticism, he's able to bring them down. Not many big people move like he does. I also love how he's built like DJ Jones. He stays close to the ground, so he's routinely able to get leverage on taller offensive linemen. Here, for instance, you can see how he gets underneath this offensive lineman's pads, extends it. Look how much lower his pad level is than this offensive lineman's, and then because of this, he has the power to shed his block, get into the backfield, and this is just routine at this point. Anderson makes the tackle once again. While I've mainly been focusing on Anderson's ability to just manhandle offensive linemen, I also love how smart he is and how quickly he can identify where the back is going, which I kinda have hinted at. Here, for instance, he quickly adjusts his rush and brings down this Green Bay back for a pretty minimal gain. Equally as important for Anderson is his ability to get off the ball in Chris Kaceric's wide 9 defensive front. And he has a crazy ability for someone that comes in right around 330 pounds. Here going against the Buccaneers, for instance, Anderson is able to quickly step across his center's face, and you can see how this creates a lot of separation in his rush. Then he comes back hard with the rip move, and before you know it, he's already in the backfield blowing up this play. Overall, this is a pretty incredible play of an undrafted free agent. In a similar way here going against the Bears, Anderson uses his first step and athleticism to find his way into the backfield. Here initially, for instance, you can see how he steps hard across this offensive lineman's face, uses a swim move pretty instinctually in fact, and then even with this tackle trying to block him, he still is forcing his way into the backfield. Anderson is so athletic and smart in fact, he can also blow up tight end screens like he does here. You can see how they're trying to get this ball to this tight end right here, but Anderson is able to identify it, so he shuts it down and is even running with him across the field. Allen wanted to go there, but Anderson is playing it like corner. Now transitioning into his pass rush, I truly believe this is where we're going to see the biggest improvement from Anderson from year 1 to year 2. Because when you looked at his tool set, he definitely needed to add a couple of tools to his repertoire, but overall, when you look at him as a pass rusher, he looks natural in that role. Here going against the Rams, for instance, I want to pay attention to how he sets up this spin move. He first shoots hard across his guard's face, and then once he commits there, Anderson quickly spins across the offensive lineman's face, and even with the hold, he's able to put pressure on Matthew Stafford. And in the future, I think he's going to transition this into some sacks and maybe even turnovers for his team. Maybe my favorite move by Anderson last year though was just his simple bull rush. I love his ability to collapse the pocket. I think this really speeds up a quarterback's timing and not only is demoralizing for an offensive lineman, but sets up Anderson in the future to pull out a power to speed move or speed to power. There's a lot of varieties now Anderson can add to his game because of his dominance against his guard. The final strength of Anderson's I want to mention before moving on to the areas he needs to improve heading into year 2 is just how hot his motor runs. You'll never see him give up on the play, and that's why right here he's able to bat down this from Jacoby Brissett, gets this fumble and sack on the play. Now moving into areas Anderson can improve headed into year 2, I think the most obvious is just his pass rush. He needs to add tools as well as develop a true plan, and I think that would make him a lot more successful on third down. Heading into year 2, Anderson should also get a lot stronger and in better football shape, so he should be able to remain productive throughout this upcoming season. It's also worth noting he doesn't have the longest arms, but overall when I'm looking at Evan Anderson, I see a player similar to DJ Jones, and I expect him to have a lot of success heading into year 2, and honestly, surprise a lot of people. But to fully understand the player that is Evan Anderson, we do need to break down his career up to this point so we can fully understand what San Francisco is getting headed into year 2. When we were initially introduced to Anderson, for instance, he was playing at Jones High School in Orlando, Florida, playing both defensive tackle and offensive guard. And according to 24/7 Sports, he was ranked as a 3-star recruit, had offers from Florida Atlantic University, FIU, Kent State, Samford, and Tennessee Tech, with Anderson ultimately deciding to enroll at Florida Atlantic. And during his 4-year career, from 2020 to 2023, he played in 39 games, registered 146 tackles, 21 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 2 passes defended, and 3 fumble recoveries. So after being a constant contributing force up the middle for Florida Atlantic University, Anderson entered the 2024 NFL Draft. And while he went undrafted, shortly after, he signed with San Francisco. But despite being undrafted, Anderson was able to find his way onto the field 12 games, started in 1, registered 24 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. So even though a lot of people across the NFL probably aren't familiar with Evan Anderson just yet, I think it's just a matter of time. He has all the tools necessary to be successful in Chris Kaceric's defensive line, and I expect him to break out in a major way this year. But these are just my thoughts on Evan Anderson heading into year 2, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. Do you think he's going to have a breakout year, or do you think it will be CJ West, or maybe Alfred Collins? It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.